Hi, and welcome to another episode of Kiss and Tell with Josh and Cindy. Today, we're going to talk about... What are we going to talk about today, honey?
We are going to talk about how to deal with day-to-day problems.
Ooh, day-to-day problems. What aspect of day-to-day problems?
Basically, how to work through it.
Oh.
And also why maybe it seems like it is difficult to deal with in the moment.
Okay, so day-to-day problems, dealing with them in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's those times that your partner says something just a little bit off,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and it just pisses you off more than anything. Is that kind of what we're talking about today?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about.
That makes a lot of sense. So I think the main key to think about and to remember that these problems, they come up and they show up out of nowhere, but it's usually the presenting problem is nowhere near the real problem.
Right, that's so true.
Right? So it's always this deeper, second, third, or fourth layer problem.
Yeah, with women it might be 10.
With women it might be 10 or 15 or so. But usually even with guys, like it's never just that instant, that moment, that thing that's kind of sets you off. That it's not the anger, or it's not the jealousy, or it's not the the rage, or maybe it's a substance abuse. Sometimes that can be a problem. Whether it's alcohol or drugs, maybe that's not necessarily the actual real problem.
No.
But it shows up as the outset, right?
Definitely.
Okay. So how do you deal with that?
Well, could we actually go back to that and just...
Yeah.
Can I give an example? If it's all right with you?
No, it's not all right with me. Yeah, you can give an example.
Okay, so there was a time where you were drinking.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then you said something not nice. Or you've been angry.
Okay.
Been angry. I don't really remember the whole thing, but just you were angry. And then because I saw alcohol in your hand, I put it as you're drinking, and that's what's making you angry. Okay. Yeah, because it kind of reminded me of someone close to me that does it all the time, and they're pretty easily, ticked off.
Okay.
When they have a drink in their hand, because they're usually drinking all the time.
Okay.
And so I associated it as he's drinking, he's going to get angry.
Okay. And I wasn't necessarily angry. You just saw me drinking.
Yeah.
And you thought that because I was drinking, I was going to be angry.
Right.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so sometimes those things get wired up, and we don't even realize that's happening. We talked before, just the Pavlov's dog, this stimulation behind that. So you had seen in your life anger, drinking. So pretty soon you saw drinking, and that equaled anger.
Yeah.
So I remember some times like that. I remember, there was a time we were out and I was having alcohol, and you were really upset about me just drinking, and it wasn't in excess at this time. It was just having a drink kind of thing, and what came of that was, it was a small fight. It was a little problem that came into a big problem, and it wasn't until we started unraveling those things that we saw that. And it's the presenting problem in the moment isn't necessarily the deeper problem. And sometimes you go, wait a minute. As a guy, sometimes you got to go, wait a minute, honey. This isn't that big a deal. Yeah. But, you can't necessarily say that in the moment.
No, don't you dare.
But you have to think in your head, this isn't necessarily that big a deal. What's the deeper issue here? Yeah. What is it that's really bothering you? That's a question I like to ask. What is it that, be like, honey, what is it that's really bothering you? And sometimes you got to go that extra level, that 10, 15 layers.
Yeah, and
deep.
Women will. This is usually when they'll go, oh, nothing.
Yeah,
it's nothing.
That means something.
Yeah. Nothing is always something.
Yeah, nothing is always something.
So don't give up and leave the room and think everything's going to be okay.
They're testing you. It's a test. We'll do that in another video. We'll talk about testing.
So many people fail.
Which so many, because guys, we don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't know when I was a guy and I signed up for a relationship that I also signed up to be Sherlock Holmes. I didn't know that I had to put on a detective hat, a little microscope, magnifying glass, and search out and hunt these problems down. Guys don't think this way, right? So it's different for us, and it come with a challenge. So it makes things more fun. It makes things more interesting, and really, the quicker that you can get out of the mode of the problem and on the mode of the solution, the better. Yeah. Because if you're always constantly focused just on the problem and you're never focused on the solution, you're never going to find it. Yeah. I think it's Einstein said, spend 5% of your time on the problem, 95% on the solution. And that's the focus that you really have to have. So the quicker you can get out of that, does that make sense?
Yeah, because if I focus on your anger.
Okay.
And I just keep focusing on that.
You're making me out to be this angry drinking guy today.
I'm not. I'm just saying, in any situation.
Okay. You're saying hypothetically.
Yes, hypothetically. If I focus on your anger, then that usually makes me upset.
Okay.
I don't usually get mad, and I go more to sad.
Okay.
Than I do to.
Okay.
Okay. So if I focus on that, then I just get more and more and more sad.
Sure.
Just, really, really down, just tears, breakdown. So...
What shifts you out of it?
As soon as I start thinking, what's really going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and start seeing that there is a better future, there's more hope to that.
Because we have to break out of it, or seriously, that will be an issue that is never forgotten or forgiven.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll always...
You're saying as a woman.
Yeah, and it'll always come back up. It'll always be one of those things where it's God, how many times have we had this fight?
Yeah. Guys, if you had that, this is one of those reasons why. Because it never got fully resolved that time.
Yeah.
So, does that cover those problems?
I think it does, but I just want to really get it and just go and say, basically, when you're in that moment, try to step outside and really just ask that question, honey, what's really going on?
Yeah.
And then start it that way, and then see how it unravels.
Yeah.
And also, this may take longer than you would have hoped. This may take
3 hours.
Yeah. It may take that long. Who knows?
3 hours. 3 hours, at least.
It can be a while, but
sometimes.
But you know what? If you really want to find a solution, you'll put the time in.
Yeah.
So just don't. I don't want to say just don't beat her up because it's taken so long. Yeah.
No, because if you do that, you got to start all over.
Yeah.
The process starts over again.
Yeah.
It's almost like. She's got a bag that she's been putting stuff in all day. She's going to empty that bag out. Sometimes it takes a little while.
Yeah.
So you just have to give that a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And go through that kind of process. So definitely that's for some deeper. That's for some.
Yeah. No.
If you're going to unravel a whole bunch of stuff.
It's not always going to take that long, but
no.
There can be times where it will, and I just want to prepare them and just say that, don't give up. Don't shove it in her face that it's taking too long.
Of course not.
Yeah, because there have been times, even when we have fought, and it's he said, I've got stuff to do, and I've literally taken all this time out of my day just to do this.
Yeah, that starts over. That starts the clock over again.
So, just word of caution, I guess.
Yep. So I think that covers it.
Yeah,
I think
so.
that the other big key to remember is remember where your partner's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So. If you get really caught in that moment, you have to remember, what's my partner's dominant intent? What is it that they really, even though they're expressing this in a way, and it might not be serving them or serving your relationship at the time that it's being expressed, your partner's dominant intent is always that they love you.
Yeah.
And you got to come back to that. And you got to remember that sometimes, because that'll break you out of it as well.
If you remember that, look, I'm hurting, she must be too.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. He must be hurting as well.
Yeah.
So let's stop this.
Yeah, as soon as you can step out of your own, because when you're focused on the hurt, you're really being selfish. That's really where it starts, because you're only focused on yourself. You're only focused on how you feel, and you're not focused on how your partner feels.
Right.
Another great way to break it is immediately start thinking about, okay, how are they feeling? and reach out and to put yourself in their shoes and feel, how is this affecting them?
Yeah.
So, and sometimes that breaks it down too.
It's hard not to like want to protect yourself.
Yeah.
But really, like, if you could do that, you would be amazed by the transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It breaks through. So,
yeah.
I think that does it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's all we have today. I hope this helps. I hope you're able to take these little just tips and apply them to your own relationship and, give it a try where you can, work it into maybe an issue that you're having and just whoa, time out, step back and take a look, and, break that pattern. Watch the video and break the patterns if you're having an issue with that, because this is another way to talk about that. Is really breaking it.
That's true.
That's all we have today.
Okay.
I'm Josh.
I'm Cindy.
And this is Kiss and Tell, and we'll talk to you next time. By the way, sign up. Go to our Facebook page. We've got events scheduled. We've got calls going on.
Yeah.
Check it out. Sign up on the page. We'll have a website out soon. We're discussing it, building it as we speak. So, signing off.